Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Northern Nerdcast, where we showcase the geeky, nerdy people, groups, and events that happen in and around this Edmonton area. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATV. Please feel free to head on over to albertapodcastnetwork.com for a list of amazing Alberta-made podcasts. We would also like to encourage everyone out there that if you enjoy this episode, to share it with all your friends on social media. This way, we are able to help grow the community here in Edmonton and keep everyone up to date on the latest news and information regarding the geeky, nerdy people, groups, and events. Also, if you or someone you know would like to be featured on our show, please feel free to contact us over at northernnerdnetwork.com. Now, let's get on with the show. All right, so welcome back once again to another edition of the Nerdcast, where we do showcase the geeky and nerdy people, groups, and events. Today on this Nerdcast, we have, of course, the wonderful, lovely, amazing, beautiful, intelligent, incredible Chelsea Thompson.
Yeesh!
Who's on the couch tonight?
I am. I'm in my living room this evening.
This is also very...
Me too.
Yeah. No, normally when I'm on the show hosting, I hole myself away in my comfy bedroom in a nest of pillows and shut the door so that my podcasting doesn't disturb my roommate and my boyfriend. But neither of them are home this evening. And it was a pro D day today. So I got home and I was, got comfy on the couch and was like, wait, no one's home tonight. I don't have to leave. I can podcast from the couch.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So you get a lovely view of the blinds and
the plant.
My little plant babies.
Yeah.
That it's a huge feat for me. My living room is filled with plants that I have had for almost a year now, that I have managed to keep alive, which is amazing for me anyway.
That's much better than what we have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Trina can attest. I'm pretty sure she and Cindy and Wendy witnessed my cactus experience in university when I was living with my cousin. I attempted to keep a cactus.
You killed a cactus?
I have killed a cactus. I'm one of those people. So
Can you actually do that?
Mm-hmm. I overwatered it.
It's the only way.
Yep. Yeah. So the fact that I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plants in my living room that are all alive after a year.
That's incredible.
I know, right?
I'm impressed, honestly, because literally we do not own any plants in our home. When I give Trina flowers, I make sure that they are ones that can die. We don't buy potted plants. No, it's just not going to happen. Also, on today's episode, we have Rebecca. Is it Bex? Becca? What do we do? How are we talking? How are we referring to you?
Yeah, honestly, I'm pretty much my username. It's like my mom and my dad call me Rebecca, but I mostly go by Bex. So
Bex.
Awesome. We can do that.
Everyone calls me Bex.
We can make that happen.
That's good. All right, so we got Bex here from Edmonton Twitch joining us tonight. So we're super excited to be chatting a little bit about that. But first off, we always like to get down to the soul of every person that we have on this show by asking them what they have on their geek shelf. So Bex, what do you have on your geek shelf?
So you have to understand that, I'm a pretty special type of person, and I'm definitely a collector. So this was a hard question. I could have pulled out anything from I wish that I was actually in my bedroom tonight because we have this big armoire, and each of the shelves in it are actually dedicated to different things me and my husband absolutely love. So we have like a Harry Potter shelf, and we have Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Magical Girl stuff, which is like my like pride and joy. I'm a huge Sailor Moon fan. But I didn't pick any of that stuff. I didn't even pick any of my Overwatch collection, which would have been like a good segue. But I actually picked a gaming item that is like more dear to me than almost probably any other gaming item I have. This is a collector's edition box set of the video game Catherine, which was produced for several different platforms. For those of you who are listening to this at home later, I'm holding up a beautiful pizza box from the game, is what it all comes in. And I actually have all the pieces still in here. I didn't buy this. I paid $0 for this, which is actually honestly the best part. This game is by far my favorite video game I've ever played to date. It's the first video game I ever streamed from start to finish on my channel. And my good friend Zoe actually had this in her closet for a long time, found out I was a huge fan of the game, and just gave it to me. And I cried like a little girl because I was like, it's so cool. So beyond just like the pizza box thing, which is like very cool in itself, it's a huge featurette from the game. You also get a copy of the game for Xbox 360, and I actually have an Xbox 360 that works, which is great. But there's also a sound disc and art book with all of the imagery from the game. Ooh, nice. And a super cool T-shirt that comes in it, and a pillowcase.
Which is still in the box.
Yeah, I kept everything in the box. I'm keeping it all in the box because I don't want to lose any of the pieces, and I'm like kind of notorious for like losing crap if I don't just put it away. And it also comes with the boxers that Vincent wears during the whole game. So I'm like a huge fan of this. I keep it literally like front and center in my living room so I can see it every single day. I just think about what great friends I have who thought of me for this like fabulous gift. But yeah, this is one of the coolest things I own in my opinion.
And you really do know who your true friends are when they can look at a pizza box and go, oh, you're a Catherine fan.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? It's like, if you know what that is on just like by looking at it, that's a huge win. I went to Animathon for the first time a couple years ago, and I just about died because there was a guy who was dressed like one of the sheep. I don't know if you've ever played Catherine, but the basic premise of the game is that Vincent, the main character, starts having these crazy dreams where he's turned into a sheep and has to go up a puzzle maze to get away from certain death, basically. Yeah. And it's awesome. It's amazing. The puzzle game is great. You can play it on tons of different difficulties. If you want to just play for the story, you can. It's mixed with this crazy like JRPG, like almost like dating sim where you can kind of choose to be a good guy or a bad guy. It has tons of amazing animated endings. But he was dressed up like one of the guys. He had like the little ears on, the whole nine. And I came up to him and was like, oh my God, dude, I love Catherine. And he looked so uncomfortable. I've never seen anyone visibly cringe away from me so hard. I'm assuming it's because I'm like really loud and like basically bolted at him from like across the way. I was like, oh my God. Because like actually my favorite game of all time. It was awesome.
That's incredible. I love Animathon, and especially for that kind of stuff. Because I mean, if you're into like a JRPG, you're gonna find a great cosplay of it somewhere in there.
Yeah. Best one I've ever seen to date, and like that costume's no joke. It takes some serious body confidence because you are not wearing a shirt. Like you got nothing on except for underwear. That's a bold move to make.
Well, and you said he shied away. What's the deal with that?
I don't know, man. I honestly think it was just because like I was definitely running at him, and maybe like that was like a little bit of alarming. maybe I could have played it a little cooler. Maybe that's on me, but
no, never dampen your enthusiasm for something you love.
But he did seem appreciative that I knew what it was from, because a lot of people, I guess, didn't, which is kind of a shame because even though like there's obvious like goofy things that happened in the game, the story that it tells is really cool. And they're actually coming out with Catherine Full Body soon, which is like a remastered version of the current game, and they're adding in new characters and there's gonna be new endings, so I'm really excited for that.
Well, that'd be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because the way that the story works now, I can't imagine putting anyone else into it. That's all I want to say. I don't want to give any spoilers if somebody else actually wants to go play this game. It has been out for, oh my god, when did this come out? I don't even know. Is it even going to tell me on the box what year this had come out?
Well, your enthusiasm is inspiring. I'd never heard of it, but I love puzzle games. And so I feel like after this exchange, when we finish this evening, I'm going to go on to my boyfriend's Xbox Live and find it and download it.
Yeah, and it's on PlayStation Now. If you have PlayStation Now, you can play the whole thing with your subscription to that right now. So definitely worth playing. And it's definitely playable in a day if you play on easy. Not so much if you get into like expert and stuff.
Nice.
I'm sorry for the ice level in advance.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to skip it back over to Chelsea. I mean, we have been away from each other so long. I would just wanted to know a little bit, how was your day or time?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned the last Nerdcast we did. The week's been pretty mellow. School is back in. Picking up some days on set, which have been really fun, and yeah, just kind of trucking along. But yeah, it's always nice to do a Nerdcast. It's a nice end to my day to come and talk to such amazing, nerdy human beings that are so passionate about what they do. Always makes my day.
That's awesome. Well, as for myself, I guess we had.
How are you? How's the fort?
The fort is still here. It has not gone away.
Still standing. Yeah.
Still standing. As it is though, I did have a day off today.
Nice.
Which is.
Whoa, did you sleep in undisturbed by small children, by your offspring?
Yes. So normally, if I'm home, I do have 2 children who do not let me sleep in. And here I got to sleep in quite a while, so it was very nice for that. I did manage to, however, go into Fort McMurray today. I managed to hit up I hit Walmart for one because I needed a few snacks, chocolate bars and things like that. And then I needed to go get my comic fix on, so I went to Nerdvana.
Nice.
And chatted with the people over there. They're fantastic. I'm always happy to say, go check that place out. If you're in Fort McMurray, go check out Nerdvana. The people there are awesome, and you want comics, you want some collectibles, that's definitely the place to go. I also got to go
as a sidebar, Dan. Maybe you should talk to the fine people at Nerdvana and see if they'd like to join us on the Nerdcast one of these evenings.
I think we're going to be doing that here. Next little they have a actual web series out as well.
Ooh,
that was done by Story Hive, and it was very good. It's completed now, so they have all 8 episodes, I believe, is online for people to go check out. So if you guys are into, I don't know, a story about time traveling, world, universe crossover things, in a comic book store, go check that series out. Really good.
Nice.
And it's local, so it's awesome. That, and we also I also managed over to Tactical Magic tonight or today as well, which is a board game store here in Fort McMurray. And so that was kind of awesome to go and check out as well. I didn't realize that they had such a place up here, but he's been here for about 8 years apparently. Super nice guy, and the tables are free for people to go and play games on and do all sorts of stuff there. So go check that out if you're in the area. I highly recommend going to check out those 2 places because they're both fantastic and awesome people. I did manage to pick up a game from there. I love escape rooms, and so I found this one. It's called Unlocked Secret Adventures Tombstone Express. I haven't opened it yet. You can see it's still got its plastic on because I don't really want to see what's inside it until we open it. So I picked that up, and it's an escape room in a box.
Nice.
And it uses supposed to use some sort of app with it as well. So you download the app, and then you get some cards, and you try to get out of the room. And so very curious to see how this one runs. It goes up to 6 players, and it's 10 minutes per player. So I think it's 60 minutes in total.
Woohoo!
So yeah, awesome. I'm excited for that. So that was it. That was my day. I do have one correction that I have to make, and I was supposed to make this last episode, and I totally forgot, and I feel really bad. When we talked about like 2 episodes ago about Let's Do Coffee, which is part of the Nate's. It's Maji. Okay, so it's Maji Center for New Venture and Student Entrepreneurship. Okay, I was calling it Maui, something I can't remember. It's Maji. So
Cool.
Just so everyone knows, and I have correction done. So check that out.
Excellent.
Let's Do Coffee. That's just a free. It's good. So go check that out. And yeah, that's it. Awesome. Well, that's all we have for that. We're going to talk a bit about Edmonton Twitch, which I'm super excited about here.
Yep.
We had on last episode, we had Edmonton
Extra Life.
Yeah, Extra Life Edmonton. So that was awesome. So we're just going to keep rolling with the video game train here, and we're going to talk about Edmonton Twitch. So we're going to do that right after this break.
That's right. I have some news to spread to our good listeners and viewers. It's pretty exciting. So the Alberta Podcast Network is super charged up to announce their latest sponsor, Park Power, a Sherwood Park-based provider of electricity and natural gas. Supporting local enterprises is important to both Park Power and the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB, so they go really well together. Park Power's support of the network will allow them to better promote the Alberta-made podcasts that are on the network. And your support of Park Power gives you the satisfaction of keeping your money close to home, and you can save money too. On top of all of that, Park Power shares 10% of its profits with local charities. When you sign up, you choose which one to direct that money to. Be sure to follow Park Power on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to see what they're up to and to enjoy the local love that Park Power spreads. Welcome to the team. Park Power Alberta Podcast Network is so excited for this team up.
Awesome. That is that. I'm excited for Park Power, and I think people should check that out. It's parkpower.ca, right? So check that out, and make sure you hit that .ca, because .com will take somewhere else. You don't want to go there.
All Canadian.
All Canadian. It's Canadian.
Yep.
It's Canadian to the core. All right. So on today's edition of the Nerdcast, we have Bex.
A lovely Bex from Edmonton Twitch. Hooray!
Hype.
The hype is real.
The hype is so real. I'm so excited to be here. I took some time and I was listening. You guys have had quite a few people that we're close friends with, as well as that we work with on the podcast before. Scott from DPX. We had Extra Life here last night. I was in the chat for. And they got to announce too. I wanted her to. I'm glad that she did. That we're partnering with Extra Life for our next event. Yay! And are going to be donating part of the proceeds to the event. So just kind of like as a backstory, so you guys know a little bit more about Edmonton Twitch. We are a totally non-profit society. None of us takes any kind of pay home from this. We do it out of love for the community. So every penny that goes for like VIP ticket sales or donations online, all of those things, when they're not being used to go directly back and pick up cool stuff like swag or banners or pay to send our team out to events to support everybody else, all of it goes back to charity. There's always going to be a kickback. So we're really excited for, especially for our holiday meetup, that we're going to be able to provide that kind of support to Extra Life. And this is the first year that Edmonton is ever going to have its own, like Edmonton Twitch, own Extra Life page. So in the past, if we have ever done anything with Extra Life, it's been our individual community members who have been there supporting Extra Life themselves. But now we actually are going to have our own official Edmonton Twitch page, so we can start getting those super slick looking gold medals that Lisa was showing off yesterday.
That is awesome. So let's just go back here for a moment, because I want to find out a little bit more about yourself before we get into here. I want to know what kind of got you specifically into streaming. What is that?
This is my favorite story of all time.
Excellent. We love stories like that.
This is the best question to ask me. So honestly, I think the story of how I started streaming, the story of why I started streaming, really shows off why I really value Twitch and why, to me, it's become such an important part of my life. So up until a little bit like a year and a half ago, I honestly had never heard of Twitch before, which, looking at me now, probably comes as a lot of a surprise, because it's a massive website. It's been around forever.
Yeah. So first off, for people who may not know, because it's weird that people who would be listening to the Nerdcast might not know what Twitch is. But what is Twitch first?
Okay. So Twitch is a streaming platform. It's all live, and basically it started off as Justin TV, and it was just a place to stream video games live. Now it's Twitch. It was bought out by Amazon. Lots of crazy stuff has happened since Justin TV, and now you can stream pretty much anything live to Twitch. There's everything from casual gaming, competitive gaming. They just did I think they're going to start doing football streaming. They're doing premieres for Amazon Video now. There's creative. There are people making cosplay. There's people who do cooking shows, fitness, the whole nine. And
there are people who stream RPG live plays on Twitch.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And lots of board games too.
Yeah.
So if there's something that you like to watch on YouTube, there is definitely a community for it over on Twitch. And kind of the gem, I like watching YouTube as much as anybody else, for sure. But the gem about Twitch is you get to create a relationship with the person who you're actually watching and putting the time into, because everything is done in real time. The same way I'm talking to you right now and I'm able to interact with the chat, is basically, that's how Twitch works for me. So it's really hard for me. I'm trying not to look at the chat a lot, because I know the people at home will be like, who are you talking to? But that's exactly what it is. So the people who end up watching you are way more than just a viewer. It's not like on YouTube where you get one view and you're like, oh, sweet, cool, but you have no idea who it was who watched your video. The people who show up for you on Twitch, they quickly become friends or family. And that's what's so cool about the platform, is the intense community dynamic that people build. So when I heard about Twitch, my friend Keaton had been streaming on Twitch for a long time. Since Justin TV, he has now been made an affiliate, and it was still streaming quite a bit. And we were hanging out a lot. And I had heard about this Twitch thing in passing, and I was always kind of oh, well, you're just hanging out by yourself and streaming games. What a lame pastime, my dude, come hang out with us or something. But I knew it was really important to him. And so I took the time and I started watching his streams, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then we played, a group of us who used to hang out, we would all play this game. It was basically called 2 Wins and a Loss. And we would talk about the things this week that went super awesome, 2 things that we wanted to just celebrate that they happened, whether it was, doing really, really well on something in school or at your job or whatever it was. And then we always brought something to the group that we wanted to address, that we wanted some help with, or something that we felt the other people might be able to support us in achieving. And one of the times Keaton had said, one of my wins is that we've gotten to spend so much time together, and I love spending time with my friends, but I wish that I could also focus more time on my stream, and I don't really know how to do both. At the time, I wasn't particularly busy, and I said, hey, I'm gonna stream with you every Tuesday. That's what's gonna happen. Every single Tuesday, I'll come hang out, and we will stream together. And that was the first 6 months of my streaming career. Was every Tuesday I would go, we would stream on Keaton's channel, and I had no interest in doing my own. 6 months into it, I'm like, all right, okay, I get it. It's not just hanging out by yourself. All right. I went to my first Twitch meetup, and made some friends and really got to know the community. And like, honestly, it's like so weird for me to look back and like think it was only a year ago that I went to that first meetup. It was held in, I want to say it was in October, but I don't even think that's true. It might have been a little bit earlier. It was definitely the one before the last holiday meetup that I attended for the first time. And if I could go back while I was like getting ready and like really nervous the first time I was doing my makeup to go to that meetup, and I could like shake myself and be like, dude, you are going to meet every single person who is about to become your best friend right now. I would, because that's honestly what happened. Every single person that I met at that meetup, Brett, Tamara, Zoe, Shakara, Katmar, literally all of them ended up being my absolute best friends who like, we have like secret Discord chat and like the whole nine together. So that's like kind of what started it for me, was just wanting to hang out with and help one of my friends out. And now I'm here.
That's
so
amazing.
What was, you said earlier, Catherine, that was the first thing once you like made the dive into your own stream, that was the first thing you streamed on your channel, right?
Yeah, so the very first game ever featured was when I was on streaming only from PlayStation. I played one game of Skyrim, and then I was like, this is not going to work. So I hooked up this like crazy like rinky-dink my laptop and to use for chat, Trenton's laptop to actually stream on because my laptop couldn't handle OBS, and my phone to be able to like watch the levels and stuff. And I was streaming from PlayStation Now. And that's when I started streaming Catherine. I played the whole way through that way. Looking back, oh boy, I'm so glad that I've upgraded because it was a mess. I'm glad that they don't keep your VODs for very long.
Yeah, this is true. I'm kind of curious. Like you say, like I want to sort of go a little bit further into your gaming history here for a little bit.
Yeah, I was
what
thinking
kind
the
of
same
things
thing.
were the things that that really brought you as a person just into gaming in the first place? Like, what was that moment for you growing up, going, man, I really just love gaming?
I grew up in like a super like gamer intensive household. My mom was like a huge like PlayStation fanatic, and like we still are PlayStation people in this house. I know that we have an Xbox 360, but Sony is like my one true love. I like honestly can't help it. And it's a huge argument between me and my husband because he's like Xbox all the way, but like the PlayStation 4 is like a masterful object. Anyway, I can like perfectly recall like going to Blockbuster. I'm ancient, going to Blockbuster and getting Spyro Year of the Dragon, which was available on PlayStation 1. And I remember sitting down, and I had to be like kindergarten or younger, and sitting down and playing that game. And that was the first game I ever 100%ed. And that was like the moment when I realized that I love games. And even more than that, like a lot of my childhood was like watching my parents in the living room playing like story mode games, especially like when I was in either late middle school or early high school, BioShock came out. Mm-hmm. And I'm not like good at scary stuff. I am a real wuss when it comes to that kind of thing. I can't watch scary movies. Creepy shows honestly like turn my guts. There's like so much stuff on Netflix I want to watch that I can't watch because like I only have such a window to watch TV right before bed. And I'm like, if I watch this before bed, I'll never sleep again. It'll just never happen for me. And I remember watching my stepdad play BioShock and how much I loved it. So when I kind of started to transition into streaming games, I realized, you know, the stories that games tell were always what drew me into games. The original like Pokemon Blue and like Spyro, Sly Cooper, all of those games are pretty story intensive. Like I never really got into things like Halo or Call of Duty or like the first person shooter kind of deal. It was always those single player deep story, high fantasy. I'm a huge, like massive Elder Scrolls fan. I have sunk so much time into Skyrim, it would make you vomit. I could probably have 2 degrees if I didn't play so much Skyrim. Like I'm sure the time amount probably equals out because like I love it. And I mean, it's been around for like 10 years. So like, obviously it's been,
it's amazing how much legs that game has had.
Has gotten, yep.
Yes.
That's the thing. And I mean, honestly, I watch E3 every year. E3 is my favorite by far of all of the gaming events that happen in the run of a year. It's my dream to go, and I've always watched the press conferences. And Bethesda's this year, I have never screamed so much at Todd Howard in my whole life. I can't even paraphrase what I said. This is a family-friendly show, but man, was I mad at Todd Howard. If you want to go back into my Twitter archive, I live tweeted it and you can see. But he really made me irritated, especially showing off the Elder Scrolls for the phone. I was like, what is this? Don't, Todd. Just stop.
It was a big show.
Yeah.
That was all that was. It was just flashy. Yeah.
But it was awesome. That 26 seconds at the end was good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just ask you a little bit more. So as you grew up, you love games. Now you're getting into streaming.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious on what maybe sort of advice would you have for people who are getting into streaming just like you did? Like what are some of the mistakes that you may have made that you said, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or just some advice that you would give somebody who decided, hey, I should stream something.
Yeah. So I mean, I by no means am like an expert or anything. I think we all have very different journeys when it comes to streaming. And for me, like, I'm still making some of those mistakes that I wish I could tell someone not to do. Like, hey, dude, maybe you should have a consistent schedule and not cancel stream all the time because you get crazy busy. That would be a good start. And I'm sure my community would definitely agree with me on that one. But the biggest thing, and the thing I will always tell somebody who says to me, I want to start streaming, just press go live. It doesn't matter what your stream looks like, because at the end of the day, like the first little bit when you're streaming, regardless, your viewer count's going to be so low that it's irrelevant. But this is your time period for you to learn how to A, talk to yourself, because you need to know how to play games and just run an inner monologue. And B, it gives you the opportunity to learn who you're actually going to be as a broadcaster. Because as much as you watch Ninja or watch, like, I love watching Tim the Tatman. Tim the Tatman, like, I don't even like Fortnite, and I'll watch Tim the Tatman because he's so hilarious. Has all the qualities of somebody that, like, I want to be like. And when you first start streaming, you try to emulate those people. You emulate those people that you've been watching. And it takes a long time to kind of figure out your voice and like fall into, where do I fit into this equation? What can I bring that, hasn't already been brought? And that's the biggest thing, is if you just press go live, all that stuff gets figured out. It's really not that big of a deal. People think that they need to have like the perfect graphics or the perfect webcam, the best audio, whatever it is, 3 monitors, a huge crazy computer. I've been streaming for a year and I stream off of a 5-year-old laptop. I literally use the same Turtle Beach headset that I bought when I first decided I would start streaming. The only reason I sound remotely good right now is because my friends all pitched in together for my birthday and bought me a microphone. Like, you don't have to be dropping crazy money. You don't have to have all these crazy flashy graphics. At the end of the day, what brings people to your stream is you. And if you aren't there, no one's going to come. So
that's just
go.
That's a really great advice for people, like, to just really realize that it doesn't matter. Like, all those extra things just really don't matter. Like, it's great to have, but sometimes just being able to just go and do that is that's the reward in itself right there.
And it's a common thread we hear from a lot of the guests that we have on the show, doing things that are creative and that they're passionate about, regardless of what that outlet is, whether it's gaming or whether it's board games or whether it's RPGs or whether it's podcasting. It all came down to, like, we just wanted to do this thing. So one day we were just kind of like,
let's just do this
thing.
Let's
just do this thing and see what happens.
And the thing is they make it so accessible now. Like, you can stream from your PlayStation, you can stream from your Xbox. Like, you don't need a computer, you don't need a webcam, you don't need all this stuff. You really don't. as long as you have a drive and you have a vision for what you want. And, you know, streaming is different for every person. Like, not everybody wants to be a professional streamer. And, you know, out of all things, like, I love Twitch more than anything. And I don't want to be a professional streamer. I mean, I would much rather be exactly where I am right now, building community events, putting those streamers together and building them up to be successful. So you have to know, and you have to think about what you yourself want. Because if you want this to be your job, you need to treat it like a job. If you want this to be a fun hobby, treat it like a fun hobby. But at the end of the day, like, if you can't tell yourself what you honestly want, streaming might not be for you, because it isn't for everybody. It's a lot of work. It's so much work and so much time, because it's not like YouTube where you take a video, it takes you half an hour to film a 10-minute video, you know, with all your outtakes and stuff. It takes you another hour, 2 hours to upload it. And then you have content, and then it stays evergreen content. People can continually see it for a really long time. Streaming is not like that. If you don't show up for a day, people are still going to watch Twitch whether or not you show up. So if you're not there for that 4 hours, that 6 hours, whatever time period you stream during, your viewership's still going to watch Twitch. Like,
now,
yeah.
As someone who grew up gaming and grew into it, do you think the draw of streaming, or the popularity of streaming, and why it's growing so quickly is sort of like the pendulum swing back of the early days of gaming, where it was a very solitary venture? Like, unless your friends were physically sitting next to you on the couch playing a game, gaming was a very solitary venture. And so do you think the popularity of streaming and why it's exploded is, like you talk about, that search for community that has potentially been missing from gaming in the past? So,
I mean, I think it depends on the kind of experience that you had as a gamer. Because I think in a lot of ways, yeah. Okay, so first person, single player story-based games, like the ones that I love the most, definitely tend to get a bad rap for being kind of a solitary pursuit. But I also have vivid memories of like LAN parties and like going over to my friends' houses and watching them play Sly Cooper and like arguing about like who the best characters were. Like, for me and for a lot of people, I think in like the millennial era, games have always kind of been a huge part of our being social, especially with Pokemon. Like, I grew up very the Pokemon gen, where you needed to have friends because otherwise you weren't getting the other starters, man. You had to have somebody who had the other game. You had to be able to battle, or you weren't getting those starters. So that was what was up. Like, so I think in some ways, like, yeah, for sure. But I think maybe the community's already always been there. It's just always been quiet. And I mean, obviously, in the last few years, it's gone from being like super lame to like being into games and like Dungeons and Dragons and like all that stuff to being like super cool. And it's like kind of weird because, you know, we still are considered the outsiders. But then we have people like Drake signing on to Twitch and like playing rounds of Fortnite with Ninja, and like us gamers have got some street cred now, you know, where it's popping. We have Drake on the platform. It's a totally different ballgame now. Like, but I think for a lot of us, it's always been there. It's just that now we're noticing that it's coming into the mainstream, and we're getting that pendulum swing of people coming in being like, oh, well, you know, maybe if I try this out, I won't be a loser. It'll be fine. It'll be good stuff. I mean, Ninja makes a ton of money. I like money. And so I think that's kind of what it is it's like we went from gaming having to be this quiet like thing that nobody really talked about. Like, if you're like, hey, I'm just going to go home and like play Adventure Quest, everybody would be like, ugh, you're such a loser. Go outside. But it's not like that anymore. If I go home and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go stream on Twitch, the first thing that, like, especially with my like husband's friends, I get mad street cred for being like the gamer in our relationship. Because I'll like go to events and stuff. They'll say, hey, like, what do you do? And, you know, I have like a day job in finance, but this is my true passion. So that's the first thing I always bring up, which is like, oh, I stream on Twitch, and like I run the Twitch community for Edmonton, and we throw events and it's cool. And people like to come to them. And they usually say, oh, what? Like, you play games? And That's so different from 5 years ago. 5 years ago, if I was like, oh, like, you know, I love playing video games, somebody'd be like, oh, really? What video games do you like to play? Huh? You like playing Barbie? And I'd be like, what?
I'm so glad some of that has been eroding in the last few years.
Yeah.
It's still prevalent, but it's good to see that it's going away.
Mm-hmm.
I got another question. For people who are perhaps are streaming now,
Sure.
how do they get a hold of you guys? How do they become part of this awesome community that you guys are building here in Edmonton?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, honestly, like, the first step is always to follow us on Twitter. Like, our Twitter is the social hub for, like, who is where, what's going on, who's currently live from our community. But beyond that, once you get to the Twitter, which is Edmonton Twitch, by the way, you can get on our Discord. And on our Discord, we're always hanging out. I'm always there. My volunteer team, which is called the Hype Squad, is always on there. And we're always having conversations, just kicking it in our Discord. Those are like really the top two. But if you aren't really looking for some more online friends and you want to get into the IRL, we do host live events. Our next one is December 1st. And we tend to try to do them once every 3 to 4 months. It honestly just depends on how the year goes. I'm hoping to do 4 this year, but we will see how December turns out.
And
That's
so
awesome.
Moving forward, as the community grows, as Edmonton Twitch grows and expands and gets more amazing people, and you make more amazing partnerships like the one with Extra Life and expand into, you know, cross events and stuff like that, what other sort of things, exciting things do you have on the horizon, or things that you hope to happen for Edmonton Twitch, or, you know, goals that you might be working towards? What can you tease us with? What good stuff do you have coming our way?
Oh, look at that smile. I can see it.
Oh, man. Okay.
Lay it on us. Give us the good stuff, Bex.
There's so much that isn't even like remotely announced yet that we've been talking about in meetings. I'm like tryring to think of like what I'm actually allowed to talk about.
Can I say that?
Yeah, it's
Did
like
I say it out loud. Did I sign an NDA? What's off limits?
Everything's so on the down low right now because we're transitioning, and I'm currently like rebuilding some programs out that I really think are going to benefit the community. I'm gonna take a little like a tangent real quick, but I'll come back and I will answer the question, I promise. So, with Edmonton Twitch, we recently had a little bit of a changeover in management, and I've now come into the position. I'm super excited about it. I love this community. I love working for these guys, and I love getting the opportunity to provide our streamers with so much more than just like shout outs on Twitter, which I think honestly is like the most boring thing out of all the cool stuff that we do. Like, they're not boring. Like, great. I'm so glad that you guys can like get some like more eyes onto the audience and stuff. And like that stuff's great. But like out of all the cool programs that we have coming out in the next year, it doesn't even touch. And the big thing that we're focusing on is what I call the KCs, which is what actually runs our community. And it's the thing that is going to be our driving force and kind of our calling from now until the end of eternity. And the KCs are pretty easy, and they are something that all of our volunteer teams should know by heart. So if you ever see them, you should ask them and make sure that they know. But basically what KCs are is kindness, creativity, community, and collaboration. And those are the foundational elements that we at Edmonton Twitch try to utilize in everything that we do. So we're really going to be exercising that in the coming year. The first step was something that has come out in the last month, which is our rebrand. Our new logos went live. Everything is starting to look a little swimming. We're currently in the process of working on a new website, which is going to feature some new and exciting forms of content that I can't really talk about right now,
but stay tuned.
It's going to be good.
But keep your eyes peeled because it's coming.
It's going to be cool. I'm really excited. I think it's really going to be to the benefit of the community. It's going to give them a lot of opportunities that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have, as well as some information that'll be very useful. And that's all I can really say about it. We're also working on the new merch line. I've been trying out new printers for that. the events. We want to get into doing some interviews with our actual streamers and focusing more on driving that growth for them. We want to start doing like tournaments and all kinds of stuff. There's lots on the horizon. I just can't definitively tell you any plans yet, but you guys will be the first to know once it all goes live.
That's awesome.
So then where should the good people of the interwebs turn to for the latest news and updates? Where can they find you? Where can they get their fix? Where can they be the first to know all about the good stuff that's coming down the pike?
So we are Edmonton Twitch on absolutely everything. That's Twitter, Facebook. We have a group on Discord, on Instagram. We've also been dabbling in. Instagram's actually really cool because we've been taking stories when we go to events. So you can actually follow kind of the volunteer team around. And it's not just me who has access to those accounts, just so we're all clear here. Yes, a lot of the time you are talking to me because I am one of those people who constantly has their cell phone and wants to make sure that, you know, things are going as they do. But the team does have access. There's lots of people on the volunteer squad who have access to the social media, who will be posting updates from things that they're doing. Next week, I'm traveling to California for TwitchCon, which is like the mecca for Twitch streamers. So I'll be doing coverage from the Edmonton Twitch Twitter, so twitter.com/Edmonton Twitch, as well as the Instagram the entire time I'm there. And really, like, I've made it so that if you get to the Twitter, www.twitter.com/Edmonton Twitch, there is a link on the very first tweet that's pinned to the top of our page where you can just go bam, bam, bam. I'm in the community. We're here. Made it really easy for you guys to find us everywhere from there because that is the hub. That's where I talk about everything. That's where you get that steaming hot news. Because we just chat in the Discord and I do post announcements and stuff. But when I need to officially announce something, it always goes on Twitter first.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
We're also going to have coverage of BlizzCon this year, too.
Woohoo!
I'm going to be at BlizzCon as well.
Nice.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. I'm excited to see exactly what you guys do over the next few years because, I mean, it's still fairly new. Twitch is still, it's been around for a few years now, but your guys' community is just growing, and I'm very excited to see it grow some more.
The communities program is super new. Honestly, like the communities program is still even being developed right now. We don't even know right now what this is going to turn into. We're all kind of just doing our best, which is what's crazy. Like the communities program has only been around for a year that you can officially like sign up with Twitch and be like, hey guys, like, is it okay if like I on your behalf like do this thing and I can use like your logo and stuff? And they're like, yeah, okay, like we'll see how it goes kind of thing. So they're still like talking about how to expand it and make it different. They actually had to close submissions because so many people want to run communities like this one. And, you know, good on them because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's awesome.
That's awesome. Like I said, I'm super excited because it's one of those things where it's such a great community of people. And it's always nice to see when Edmonton gets together and does something out here. Like it's just one of those things where you see all these great people get together with the same kind of passion and the same kind of goals, and being able to help each other, which is the big thing, right? So when you're doing streaming, sometimes you're like, what do I do? How do I get my stream deck to work? You know, those kind of questions can be easily answered by your guys' community, which is fantastic. And those are the things that are great. If you're into streaming, you're curious, whatever it is, this is the thing I would suggest for people to go and check out because it's one of those, like, I know so many people who are like, how do I get into streaming? Go to Edmonton Twitch because
go talk to Bex. She'll tell you all about it.
She'll tell you how
to. And honestly, like in the Discord too, we have channels for everything like that. If you need stream help, if you are hyping up a clip that you just had, all of that stuff is all available there as well. And we have such a fabulous community. Our regulars are amazing. They're so supportive. I honestly couldn't like hope for a better community. Like it's crazy because you would think with so many people, and I mean, we grow every time. Like our last event was double the turnout of our one prior. So it's like you would expect there to be some bad eggs, but I haven't had to deal with any. It's great. Like
That's awesome.
I love the Edmonton Twitch community. Obviously, I have to because I wouldn't do what I do if I didn't. But I truly, honestly love working for these guys. And I say working for, I don't mean working for Twitch. I mean working for our community. Because I see it as like a job, even though I'm a volunteer and I do it, you know, all on my own time. I do see it as a job, and I want it to succeed to the best of my ability, which December, guys, oh my God, the December meetup is going to be so much fun. I have some special, I guess, exclusives for you that haven't been announced yet. That'll be announced later this evening about some of the sponsors that we have and some of the stuff we're planning to do. So this is our holiday meetup. And our holiday meetup is always the one where we go big or go home, it seems like. So we're going big. So holiday meetup. It's December 1st. It is from 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. MST at Beercade on the south side. They are closing it for us.
Awesome.
Closed to the public.
Great venue.
It's amazing. Perfect. All the arcade games are going to be awesome. So they're completely closing it to the public. No one else is going to be there except for the Twitch fam, which is super nice. The entire thing will be open. We're doing custom drinks. We're doing food. There's going to be games to play. We're going to do some icebreakers, which was something that you guys asked for last time. There's going to be a Price is Super Fight tournament. It's going to be awesome. The stream is going to be running. We're going to be doing donations all night long for, obviously, Extra Life. Trying to hit that $1,000 mark in one night is our goal. And yeah, it's just going to be crazy. Draws, there's going to be swag. VIP tickets are going to be unreal. I strongly suggest if you plan on coming to the meetup, I know what's in the VIP this time. Holy shit, guys. If you bought it last time, you were probably hyped. But this time, I'm like, we've outdone ourselves. So definitely get the VIP ticket. It's well worth it.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Fantastic. Right. We love good events on this show. So we're going to take a little break. Dan's going to do another little ad, and then we're going to talk about some more great events that are happening in this crazy nerdy town of ours.
Woo!
Yeah. All right. So I want to say, the Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by what? ATB. That's right. But if I were to tell you guys that there's more podcasts out there than just this one, which is, I know, hard to believe. But go and check out albertapodcastnetwork.com for a list of amazing Alberta-made podcasts. We have just so many. I mean, if you love movies, how about if you love Bollywood, right? You like Bollywood. Who doesn't like Bollywood? I'm just kidding. But Bollywood is for Lovers is a great Bollywood podcast. So if you want to go check that one out, that one's done here in Alberta. Crazy. How about Emily Missed Out? Or did she? Also, another podcast that's made in Alberta. I have some notes. In Alberta, repodcasting. Repodcasting is made in Alberta. Blue in the Face, Alberta. Mess Hall, Alberta. So many awesome podcasts that are just here for you. If you're into politics, if you're into sports, if you're into whatever, storytelling, technology, us, go check out albertapodcastnetwork.com for all those amazing podcasts. And go while you're there, go check out some of our affiliated podcasts as well. So albertapodcastnetwork.com for all those amazing Alberta-made podcasts.
All right, Dan, give the good people what they want. Where can they go get their geek on?
Oh man, there's so many things. I had to like push my dates out because when this actually going to release on podcast. So November 16th, we have Direct Play Expo, which this is happening 16, 17, 18. And this is happening at 8426 Gateway Boulevard, Northwest Edmonton. And this is just come out and play all things gaming and with other people who love gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what more can you ask for, right? So go check that out. Direct Play Expo. I believe they have a website. I don't have it here though. Find it. Direct Play Expo, DPX. We also have KefCon.
You'll link it for our friends down below.
I'll link it down below.
Awesome.
KefCon 4. Explore, expand, exceed, experiment. This is happening November 24th to 25th at the Queen Mary Park Community League.
If you love board games,
this is definitely the one to go check out. And it's our like winter board game convention. It's awesome. Go check that out. Also, December 5th, we have Ed the Sock, War on Stupid Tour, Edmonton. That's right. And this is happening at the Union Hall. And this is happening from 7 till 10:30. So if you like Ed the Sock, and who doesn't like Ed the Sock? Let's be real. So yeah, go check that out. That's happening on, December 5th. And we also have Edmonton Twitch meetup on December 1st, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell us one more time, Bex, hit us with all that good info. Where is it? Where can people get tickets? Where can people find more about it?
All right, so Edmonton Twitch's holiday meetup in benefit of Extra Life is going to be held at Beercade on December the 1st, which is a Saturday, from 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. MST. You're welcome to stay late and watch the hockey game after. Tickets are going on sale a little bit later this week. They'll be available, obviously, base ticket, always free. You can come to the event, pay nothing, have a great time, no big deal. If you want to get that VIP swag, those tickets are going on sale later this week, and they're available on our Twitter, www.twitter.com/Edmonton Twitch. There'll be a link available for all the goodies.
Hooray!
Awesome. I want to thank you so much, Bex, for coming on our show tonight. And thank you so much for telling us about Edmonton Twitch. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see what you guys are up to. And you guys are fantastic. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
That is it. So I want to say to everybody out there, I don't know where my notes went. They just sort of disappeared on me. They do that every so often.
Poof.
It's a weird thing to want to say to everybody.
I know. That's what happens.
That's what happens when we're live.
That is. All right. So we want to thank everyone who listens to this episode of the show. And if you enjoyed this, I want to ask if you can share it with your friends on social media. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Broadcast Network, powered by ATV, and is produced by myself, along with Chelsea Thompson and Trina Schessel. You can find more information on the Northern Nerd Network by checking us out on Twitter at Northern_Nerd, or Facebook.com/NorthernNerd, or YouTube.com/Northern Nerd Network, or on our very own website, NorthernNerdNetwork.com. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Nerdcast, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.